The content, views, and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the producer and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the City of Bremerton, BCAT, their officials, or their employees. Hello, and welcome again to the BCAT Studios with the Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers Artisan and Creative Showcase. My name's Mark Miller, and once again I get to interview a young creative, and we have an individual here by the name of Claire Shephard, who is a brand new author, published author, and she has a story in the Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers anthology that we have just published. Thank you, Claire, for coming, and we're going to have a little discussion about your writing history and how you got started and everything. Okay. So, how did you get started? Or let's start out. How long ago did you first start thinking about writing?
Well, in third grade, I think it started more in third grade because my teacher would assign homework where it would be like stories where the beginning would be there or the end would be there, and then you have to like fill in the gaps. So that sparked the creativity. Then at the end of the year, everyone was handed out awards, and I got a Future Author Award, and it clicked in my mind that I was going to achieve this award and make it like I earned it.
Did you ever get a hold of the teacher and tell her that you are now a future author?
Oh no, my third grade teacher was evil.
Oh, okay, well that answers that question. But she did, the one positive thing is, she did get you started into the writing career that you're doing now.
Yes.
Okay, and your first published story is, like I said, in the Kitsap in Prose by the Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers. And tell us a little bit about that story.
Well, mine is called Animal Apocalypse. It's near the end. It's a sci-fi story, which is kind of a little out of my area of expertise when it comes to story writing. So it was, it was a bit hard to write, but it's pretty good in my opinion.
And what is your normal genre that you try to write in?
I usually do like fantasy fiction, unreal stuff that I wish was real, but it's not.
Well, what's a for instance of something that you would like to have real?
Magic, dragons, cool adventures, no electronics to distract people from actual fun stuff.
Oh, so you're not a big supporter of laptops and tablets and all that stuff.
Yeah. I have a phone, and I wish I wasn't as addicted to it as I am, but stuff happens.
Yeah. So when you write a story, do you write it on a computer?
Yes, I always do it on a computer, even though my school computer is terrible and it's glitchy, but it's the only one I got.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully, as your career progresses, you'll be able to get another computer, but at least you have something to use, and at least you managed to create a nice little story that's now in this anthology. So what made you decide to write about an animal apocalypse?
Well, I've always been like a big fanatic about there's going to be a robot apocalypse. So I was like, what if the animals mutated and there was an animal apocalypse? Because this was near the end of the year where my English teacher was like, okay, we're going to talk about apocalypses and what sparked it, because nuclear stuff was going on and the world was going crazy, like, oh, zombies and the world's going to end. So I was like, what if animals turned against us? Because we do not treat animals with respect. Like, save the tigers and save the whales and rhinos. So, They just, it's their turn to take over the world. It's their turn.
Okay. And are you going to write a sequel?
I kind of wrapped it up in the end, so I am not sure if it's really sequel-ish.
Okay.
I really wrapped it up.
And since we're on the subject of animals, do you have a favorite animal?
Fox.
A fox. Okay.
Yes,
and
love foxes.
Why do you like foxes?
They are sneaky, they are smart, they're red. They can survive in any habitat. There's Arctic foxes, rainforest foxes, desert foxes, forest foxes. I like the red fox the most.
Of course, because you like red, right? Okay. So, do you have some other stories kind of floating around that you've written that maybe, of course they haven't got published yet, but are they kind of still floating around?
I only have one that's actually finished. I'm working on a series right now, but I'm stuck on how to finish off the third one. Yeah, but the one I have finished now, I'm trying to get published. The editor sent it back to me, and now I got to figure out how in the world to get it published.
Okay, and without giving the whole story away, what's kind of like the basic plot and everything?
When my mom read it, she said it was kind of like Avatar with element bending, but I was like, no, it's not based off Avatar. It's where the world is inhabited by what I call elementals, where people who have abilities to control elements, not just air, fire, water, earth, but like others, like light, darkness, thorns, metal, moon even, or blood bending, which Mom thought was, that's Avatar, but I'm like, no, it's not Avatar. Avatar: The Last Airbender, the show on Netflix.
Yeah, no, I remember. That's kind of post my time, but I've seen the Airbender and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and everything. That kind of came all the way over from like Japanese anime and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah. So, but you have a dragon, a nice little dragon brooch on. So I take it you're also a dragon fan.
Yes, I love dragons, love learning about magic. I got a big dragonology book at home.
Oh,
Dragons are the masters of riddles, and I love riddles, so I have them all down in a little notebook, and anytime someone asks, hey, can you tell me a riddle? I open up that notebook, and I'm like, you're going to get what you asked for.
Give me a riddle. Do you have one memorized?
Yes,
okay.
It's my favorite one. Wood in my belly, trees on my back, nails in my ribs, feet I do lack. What am I?
Run that by me again. I'm old.
Weight in my belly, trees on my back, nails in my ribs, feet I do lack. What am I?
Jeez.
Let's see if you can figure this one out.
So you've got wood on your back. You got trees on your back.
And weight in the belly.
Weight in the belly. But you don't have feet.
And nails in the ribs.
Well, you're not going to be a house, because most houses don't have trees on top.
Nope.
Let me think. Mountain?
Mm-mm.
Okay. You're smarter than I am, so tell me what the answer is.
It's a ship.
It's a ship?
The hull is weight.
Okay.
The masts are the trees. And the nails hold it all together.
Okay. Well, give me another. You got another one?
Yes, this one is a bit easier.
Thank you. I need it.
What part of a bird does not fly in the sky, but can swim in the ocean and always stay dry?
Ah, gee. What part of a bird can fly in the sky?
Cannot fly in the sky.
Cannot fly in the sky. But can be in the ocean and still
always stay dry.
God. I have absolutely no idea.
It's the shadow.
The shadow of a bird. Okay.
Yes.
Now that's just downright sneaky.
Well, dragons are really sneaky with riddles.
That
you
is
get it
true.
wrong, they eat you. Or they burn you.
Well, that kind of brings up an interesting subject, because there's there's the ancient, like I would say, Chinese dragon that were always, like you said, highly intelligent, and of course they had a fixation with gold, so they always hoarded it, and then man would try to steal it, and then they'd eat the men. But they also were seen as very powerful, intelligent creatures, and to a certain extent, the reason they treated men bad was because men treated them bad. And the Chinese respected them. So at the same time, Western ideas, I think we have dragons more along the lines of dinosaurs that run around and eat us. Yeah. So what do you like more of, the Asian idea of the intelligent dragon?
Well, the thing is, some Chinese dragons don't have wings, so it's more like, a worm in the sky. Yeah. Dragons with wings, like pterodactyls. Yeah. Except, like the ones in the live action How to Train Your Dragon, if you've seen it. Dinosaurs, honestly, they terrify me. I saw Jurassic Park and I had nightmares for like a month. I thought a T-Rex was going to burst through the roof of my house and just eat everyone.
No. Well, theoretically, if we showed up back, when they existed, they might decide whether or not we tasted good or not, and that is true. Especially the carnivorous ones like the T-Rex.
Or they just eat us and become lazy.
Eat us and become lazy. But then, they're not, they realize they probably are smarter than we thought they were, but at the same time, they're nowhere near as smart as what we assumed dragons were. You know, and things. So are you going to write, you think, a bunch of stories in the future specifically about dragons?
I have a few stories with dragons. There's one I call Castle of the Dragon Tamer. I have part 1 finished, but I'm still working on part 2.
Okay.
Mom says it's based off Aragon, but I only saw the movie like once. It's not based off that. She also said it's kind of How to Train Your Dragon-ish, but I'm like, no.
Well, it's kind of hard not to be compared to things that are, in the public media, especially if somebody's made films about it. But at the same time, it's not saying that you didn't come up with an original idea, And so have you considered maybe a little twist to your dragons that's going to make them different?
Well, for one thing, the dragons talk.
Oh, okay, there you go.
And the dragon tamer used to be a princess, unlike in How to Train Your Dragon, where Hiccup was like the twig in this village. Yeah.
Okay, and I know it's kind of an adult series, but have you heard anything about Throne of Dragons and all that whole series?
No.
Okay, with George R.R. Martin. It's on HBO. And they kind of split the difference. The dragons look to have a human that they can bond with, and they seem very intelligent, but they're also nasty, and they don't talk. So it's kind of like this dichotomy. They kind of like compare the two basic types of dragons and everything. So, and when you went through and you wrote this story and other stories, and you went through the editing process, okay, how did you deal with what the editor told you?
It was pretty positive feedback, so I wasn't like emotionally distraught and crushed.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I had to correct her a bit when it was the name of the game, because she thought it was the Nuclear Apocalypse. I'm like, no, Nuclear Apocalypse is the name of the game the kid is playing to spark the whole apocalypse thing. Okay. Yeah, so I had to correct her with that a little, and she tried to make chapter 2 also first person. I'm like, no, only the intro and scratch that. Only chapter 1 is like not first person, right, is
So you kind of you're just kind of setting up
Yes,
the story.
The intro is in first person, and
Yeah.
then it kind of goes like, well, we'll see, and then the rest of the story is third person.
Oh, okay. So you use the first person to set up the background for the
Yes.
story. If somebody's telling the story, but then it gets in the third person as if everything was happening real time.
Yes.
Okay. And so you said you don't really you kind of finished it, so you don't see it being a sequel to it.
No.
But would you write another similar story in that vein?
I don't know. Writing the sci-fi story was really hard. It took me a long time to figure out how to end it quickly, so I really wrapped it up.
Okay, so like you said, you differentiate between fantasy and sci-fi pretty.
Yes, sci-fi is what would probably happen in real life, and fantasy is what would not happen in real life.
Oh, okay. So that's why we were talking earlier about magic and things. So to you, because magic doesn't seem to exist in real life.
No, science does not count as magic.
Okay, so magic only will fit into fantasy stories.
Yeah, like Harry Potter. Big fan of Harry Potter.
Oh, okay. Okay. There was an author, and I wished I knew who did this. It might have even been George R. R. Martin, but years ago, in a sci-fi magazine, there was a short little interview with this one author, and he said, we get all these nasty comments and stuff sometimes from fans, saying, that's not scientifically viable, et cetera, about some science fiction story he wrote.
Haters gotta hate.
Exactly. So after he got frustrated, he said, so then I decided I'd write fantasy. And then when somebody got up and said, hey, that couldn't happen, I had the perfect feedback. I said, yeah, it can, because it's magic, which shuts down the whole, like you said, shuts down the whole science. That's not factual science. If you just simply say, hey, it's magic, there's not another argument.
Yeah, with fantasy, there's not as many rules or guidelines like
Right.
with sci-fi. Like with fantasy, you could have like a troll with dragon wings and it would be okay. But in like sci-fi, if you like get two chemicals in the wrong connection, then people would be like, no, that's not how it goes. That's not how you do it. And you're like,
That's true.
that's why it's called science fiction.
Yes. and they've changed, over the years, they've tried to change the name a little bit and call it speculative fiction.
What?
Yeah, it's a term they started talking about. A guy by the name of Harlan Ellison first started using it. He was a sci-fi quasi fantasy horror writer too. But he started calling speculative because a lot of the stories didn't involve much hard science. And originally science fiction, way back in the day when they first started writing, it had a lot of hard science in it. In fact, it was a way to introduce science to the average person. They had this character, if you get a chance to look him up, there's a character that was floating around. His name was Tom Swift, and he was like a teenager in these books, and it was Tom Swift in his flying car, Tom Swift in his undersea boat, Tom Swift, and in other words, that's all the stories were. They were made for kids and young adults, and everything started with Tom Swift and his whatever he was doing that day, and it was a way to introduce like the scientific method and stuff to grade school kids and everything. And, so that was kind of, I guess, science fiction, but they changed the name to speculative, and in that way, you could basically use it as a means to just do a what if about anything. It didn't necessarily have to involve any science, just a what if and stuff like that. So
what's funny is we have all these like science fiction stories about like robot apocalypse, don't advance technology, don't do like chemical experiments, don't resurrect the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But scientists don't listen.
Now you made a comment earlier off camera that you kind of look forward to a robot apocalypse.
Not really, but if it does happen, scratch that. When it does happen, I hope I am around so I can tell everyone who doubted me, I told you so. Starting with my family.
Okay.
And then it'll be my friends.
Oh, okay. So you think you'd get along okay with the robots if they decided to take over?
Yes, I think that to avoid the robot apocalypse, we should treat them with like more respect. That way they don't have a reason to revolt against us. Like, don't be like, oh, well, you're just a metal person, you don't have any feelings, and then in 3 years they'll be like, what you were saying.
So there's a whole bunch of different like images of robots and stuff in robot series, robot shows and robot books and everything else. Is there any kind of specific robot or shape or activity or actual robot character that was created that you kind of maybe identify with or appreciate or like better than the other ones?
I don't really know. I've only seen 2 robot movies, which was iRobot and Mitchell's vs. the Machines. I don't like iRobot. That one is no.
Oh, well,
Mitchell's vs. the Machines, though, that is hilarious.
iRobot is, unfortunately, they warped Isaac Asimov's. They took a whole bunch of his stories and just tried to jam them all together. So all of us old people that grew up reading him, we look at it and we go, why do they do that? That's not even, you know, they took a premise of one of his books, and then they grabbed a whole bunch of other short stories and tried to jam them all into this one movie. And so it was interesting, but it kind of destroyed a lot of what he originally had promoted.
Yeah, I do sympathize with the one robot that can feel, because he's different from all the others, and all the humans treat him badly, so he feels bad. That's what I'd say we avoid doing to avoid them like rising against us.
Okay. And so...
And in Mitchell's versus the Machines, the main bad guy gets replaced by a robot, and then she's like, okay, I can't let this slide. So you know how you replaced me? Yeah, I'm going to replace all of you.
Oh, okay.
She almost succeeds. Almost.
Almost, but not quite.
Nope. And then they capture the main character mom's little boy, and she goes berserk.
Oh. I'm going to have to look that up. I've not heard of that
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, okay.
Yes.
I'll have to look that up. That sounds like interesting. I greatly appreciate you coming here, and like I said, I want to tell the audience out there that you are now a published author. You have your first published story in our little anthology that Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers produced, and I know that you're going to not have any problems at all finding other publishers in the future, because I think you have a very insightful mind and a very original mind, and that's kind of what you need if you're going to be writing science fiction and fantasy.
Well, you're the only publisher I know, so that might be a problem.
No, there's tons out there. You just gotta send out there and then do what I did, and then you get some rejection slips and you send out some more. Because that's the way it works. But anyway, I want to thank you for coming here again, Claire. Yeah. And I also really want to thank you for putting the story in anthology. And so once again, we're wrapping up another episode of Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers Creative Showcase. We try to do a couple of these every month, and then they get broadcast on Wave Cable Astound Channel 12 and Channel 3 Comcast. No, actually, it's Channel 3 Comcast and then Channel 12 Wave Cable Astound, unless you have the digital series, which Wave Cable is trying to swap out. And they're going to Channel 70 if you have the new digital box for Wave Cable Astound. If it wasn't for Bremerton Kitsap Access Television, we wouldn't be able to put this show on. So if you're looking for a public access station, take a look and look up on those channels that I just mentioned. Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers, we actually meet twice a month at Denny's on the first and third Wednesdays, and we put out an invitation to anybody who's interested in any of the creative arts, painters, writers, publishers. You know, we have a full-time editor that comes in now and helps us all out. Because it's all about helping people get their creative works out there to the general public. Thanks to my publisher, Blue Forest Press, They help me edit these shows so then we can then place it up on the Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers YouTube channel. So once again, we greatly appreciate Claire to be here, and we also greatly appreciate the audience out there. And hopefully in the near future, we'll have somebody else out there in the audience come to our meetings and maybe present a book or some type of other creation. And then I can have you here on the show so we can pick your brains. Oh, one last thing. The Bremerton Kitsap Access Television staff here helps keep me on the straight and narrow so we can broadcast this show. If it wasn't for their efforts, this wouldn't happen. So once again, I'd like to thank them. And with that, to the viewing audience out there, have a pleasant day, a better tomorrow, and a fantastic month. Good day.